Do any of you remember 8 Crazy Nights? It's an Adam Sandler animated holiday movie. I've been binging Christmas movies trying to get myself in a holiday mood and decided to rewatch it. And I still think it's a great holiday movie. The animation is way better than I remembered. You can tell they put a lot of effort into it, and the result is genuinely beautiful. As for the story, it's surprisingly solid. I'm a sucker for the grumpy holiday character turns good trope, and this one does it well. For those of you who don't remember, this movie dropped back in 2002, and it's basically Sandler's love letter to Hanukkah with a side of his signature humor. Picture this, a disgruntled dude named Davey, voiced by none other than Sandler himself, who's got more issues than an influencer with no internet. The guy's a hot mess, but the animation is good with some truly beautiful moments. The story follows a tragic character working toward redemption. Davey Stone, a 30-something Jewish guy who's hit rock bottom after years of bad decisions and run-ins with the law. He is given one last chance to avoid a decade in prison. It might not be everyone's taste. Some of the humor is bold and in your face, but it has a wholesome message at the end that makes it all worth it. We kick things off with our main man, Davey. He's got a serious chip on his shoulder, and not the delicious kind. He's living in a small town, and he's got a reputation for being a total Grinch. If you thought your neighbor was bad for not decorating their house for the holidays, wait until you meet Davey. Fun fact, this movie was actually the first fully animated film from Adam Sandler's Happy Madison Productions. I mean, who knew that behind all those live-action antics was a guy who could draw? The plot thickens when Davey ends up in a bit of legal trouble after a series of unfortunate events. Think of it like a bad day multiplied by 100. His punishment? Community service, which lands him in the town's basketball league, coached by a sweet old man named Whitey. Also voiced by Sandler, because why not? Whitey is like your overly enthusiastic grandma at Thanksgiving, super sweet, but slightly off. He's got a heart of gold and a penchant for believing in Davey more than Davey believes in himself. You ever have someone root for you so hard that it's kind of uncomfortable? That's Whitey for you. A kind-hearted and perpetually bullied local volunteer who steps up to help. Whitey convinces the small town of Duxbury, New Hampshire, that he can turn Davey into a respectable citizen before the last night of Hanukkah. As Davey begrudgingly works with Whitey, he also tries to repair a broken relationship with his childhood crush, Jennifer, who's now a single mom raising her young son. Now, let's talk about community service. Davey's assigned to help out during Hanukkah, and you can just see him rolling his eyes like he's in a math class he didn't sign up for. But what he doesn't realize is that this is the turning point in his life. Kinda like when you accidentally discover a new flavor of ice cream and you wonder how you lived without it. And here's a fun tidbit. Whitey's design was inspired by a real-life character. Yep, Sandler based him on his own childhood friend who was a bit quirky, I'm going to put it mildly. Now, the basketball scenes in this movie are pure gold. Davey, who's about as athletic as a sloth on a treadmill, somehow finds himself playing with a bunch of kids who could probably school him in their sleep. It's like watching your dad try to play video games with you. Cringe-worthy, but also kind of endearing. The pivotal moment comes when Davey has to confront his past and figure out how to turn his life around. Spoiler alert. There's a lot of yelling and some cringeworthy jokes about his skills on the court. As the movie goes on, we see the spirit of Hanukkah come alive, and just when you think it's all about basketball and bad decisions, the real magic happens. Davey starts to connect with the community, which is a big deal because up until this point, he wouldn't even connect with Wi-Fi. And can we talk about the music? Sandler's songs in this movie are catchy and bizarre all at once. There's one moment where he sings about the joys of Hanukkah, and I swear, it's so catchy that I had to pause the movie and look up if there's a Spotify playlist. Turns out there isn't. So I guess I'll just be humming it to myself like a lunatic. As we get deeper into the story, we learn more about Davey's backstory, and it's a real tearjerker. He's not just a guy with a bad attitude, he's got some serious baggage from his childhood. We discover why he's so jaded, and honestly, it's hard not to feel for the guy. Now, the climax of the movie is chaotic, culminating in a big basketball game that's supposed to be the heart of the holiday spirit. It's hilarious and just the right amount of crazy and ridiculous. Davey faces off against his past, and let me tell you, it's like watching a soap opera, but with more jumping and less melodrama. Well, maybe just as much melodrama. In that climactic basketball game, Davey's journey comes full circle, and we get a glimpse of his potential. It's not just a game, it's a metaphor for his life. He learns teamwork, friendship, and the importance of not being a total jerk. But who knew a basketball could be so enlightening? Normally, I'm not into musical-style song and dance numbers in movies. I usually ignore them or just skip ahead, and if you're anything like me, I think this is one of those movies that will surprise you. The musical scenes were a total surprise. I genuinely love them. They're fun and engaging, adding to the movie rather than slowing it down. It's also refreshing to see a winter holiday movie that's not all about Christmas for once. The movie feels like something anyone could enjoy with a great mix of emotions. There are laughs, heartfelt moments, and even a few tears. Honestly, it's earned a permanent spot in my yearly holiday movie marathon lineup. 10 out of 10. Now, the not so great stuff. There's plenty of gross out humor, kids with snot everywhere, some cringy moments, and Rob Schneider's unfortunate attempt at a Chinese accent, which feels outdated and uncomfortable. Oh, and the deer eating poop. Seriously, why? But despite those flaws, the movie still shines. I think when Adam Sandler nails it, he really nails it. And this is one of those times. It's heartfelt, funny, and a unique addition to the holiday movie canon. At its core, 8 Crazy Nights is all about redemption. Davey learns that it's never too late to change, and that sometimes the people you least expect can help you find your way. It's a classic tale of a lost soul finding his place, wrapped up in a bright, animated package. As the movie wraps up, we see Davey embracing his identity, his community, and the spirit of Hanukkah. It's like the ultimate holiday hug, but without the awkwardness of family gatherings. The movie was actually inspired by the classic A Christmas Carol, but with a Hanukkah twist. Imagine Scrooge, but instead of 3 ghosts, he's visited by a bunch of hyper kids and a talking animal. Kinda makes you rethink those holiday specials, right? Also, did you know that this movie was one of the first films to use CGI to enhance its animation? They blended traditional hand-drawn animation with CGI, which was a big deal back in the early 2000s. It's like if your grandma started using TikTok. Totally unexpected, but somehow amazing. And speaking of cultural significance, this movie has a unique place in the world of animated films because it was one of the earlier films to bring Jewish culture and traditions to the forefront in a mainstream way. Hanukkah often gets overshadowed by Christmas in popular culture, but 8 Crazy Nights made sure that the Festival of Lights got its moment in the sun, or, the moon, since it's a night holiday. Adam Sandler's brand of comedy is a mix of goofy, silly, and occasionally cringe-worthy. Whether it's the slapstick humor or the ridiculous songs, the film is packed with jokes that hit or miss, but they always bring a smile. Like there's a scene where Davey gets into an argument with a group of children, and the insults fly like confetti at a New Year's party. It's juvenile, yes, but it's also relatable. Who among us hasn't had a moment where we just let our inner child out to play? Like I said earlier, visually, this movie is a treat. The animation captures the essence of the characters beautifully, with exaggerated features that enhance their personalities. Davey's scruffy look perfectly conveys his disheveled life, while Whitey's bright, colorful design makes him look like he stepped out of a candy store. The movie also uses vibrant colors to reflect the festive atmosphere of Hanukkah, contrasting Davey's dark mood with the bright lights and decorations of the holiday. It's like watching a colorful parade marching through a dreary day. So, go ahead, grab some popcorn and hot chocolate, and give this movie another spin. You might just find yourself laughing, crying, and maybe even believing in the magic of the holidays all over again. Also, let me know down in the comments if you've already seen it. What were your thoughts on it? Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Until next time.